The Oil and Gas Free Zones Authority, OGFZA, oversees all existing free zones within Nigeria. Since its creation, the regulator has evolved by creating incentives to engender ease of doing business for local and foreign investors. As a direct consequence, it has impacted Nigeria's economy by creating jobs while enabling technology transfer.
The whole premise of how free zones operate is that you can't develop, the whole country at the same time. We have certain challenges, as you know, with regards to business and industry in Africa. The federal government established the free zone scheme where we specify areas for industrial development and do as much as we can to, eliminate the issues we would have in the wider environment.
We looked at other areas, infrastructure, access routes into our free zones. At the time I took over, the access route into the One free zone was in a sorry state of disrepair, but that also has been dealt with. Now we're looking at the issue of power, how to ensure that we have an embedded power plants within the zone, because clearly that will reduce the cost of doing business within the zone.
According to the OGFZA, its continuing reforms and activities are driven by the need to conform to global best practices and drive both local and foreign investments. This quest prompted a service-level agreement with the Nigerian Customs and then the creation of the Free Zones Operations Management Software, among other initiatives. These follow the OGFZA's ranking by investors and the Nigerian government as one of the top organizations encouraging ease of doing business in the country.
In the oil and gas industry, there's a lot of emphasis on the timing, logistics, everything being done, in time, because you have contracts with the federal government and the partners they have, in mining this product. So it's very important to them to have first-class services.
The moves that we made were like a forerunner to the eventual launch of the policy of the federal government on the ease of doing business. And that is not surprising, because the whole concept of the free zone is about ease of doing business.
We, for example, had people who maybe needed to fix vessels, and they would go to Port Gentil in Gabon before. But today we have, we have shipbuilding yards, so you can do your repairs, you can do your maintenance here now. We have companies that would, for example, fabricate pipes and, all the aspects of supporting the industry are being currently provided here at ONE, and it's invaluable for the jobs that have been created.
For the OGFZA, key strategies in its roadmap include tapping into Nigeria's service-based oil industry to generate employment opportunities, technology transfer, increase foreign direct investment, which will ultimately impact the country's gross domestic product, as well as facilitate the ease of doing business with benefits designed to cover the operator's clients and staff.
We came up with a roadmap and set some goals for ourselves. The goals include improving or establishing the appropriate enabling environments, because that is key. If you're going to compete globally, you must do things differently, because the investors are rational. So they must be persuaded. They must know that if they're coming to your free zone in Nigeria and they're not going elsewhere, then they can have a justification based on the returns on their investments. So we had to take stock, and then we looked at even the package of our incentives, which are founded in law. So one of the steps we took was even to make a move for the review of our existing acts. So looking at the legal framework also became an issue. And I must say that the National Assembly cooperated and the House of Reps passed the amendments of the Act. We're waiting for the Senate to concur.
Also within that roadmap, also plans to be self-funding. We also decided to create an enabling environment for staff as a way of getting them to improve their output. That has been achieved.
We realize that as government, we can't do everything, and we realize the efficiencies that come from partnering with the private sector. We are all for facilitating, trade, facilitating investments. So what we've managed to do has been to first of all look at the ease of doing business, with regards to our vision and our mission. Our core mandate obviously is the attraction of FDI, and for us the primary thing is creating that business climate. And that is what really the roadmap is about.
The OGFZA says its roadmap is hinged on improving service delivery capacity of the authority and has called for collaboration among the relevant agencies for a more productive outcome. The agency's head of Planning, Research and Statistics Department, Ngofa Alenjo, explains.
Prior to the issuance of the executive order, the new management organized a retreat for staff and management of the authority in January 2017, after which the roadmap was drawn. And it's targeted at improving the service delivery capacity of the authority. We believe that if we can increase, improve, and enhance service delivery capacity of the authority, then our investors will get service very promptly. A guideline for implementation was released, and then part of it was that agencies should have functional websites. They should also meet with government agencies through whom they interface on the behalf of their clients, and this OGSA did. First of all, we had a tripartite meeting with the Nigerian Customs and the Nigerian Immigration Service. These two agencies are key in our interfacing for our licenses. Customs release the goods, and then the Immigration Service ensures the free zone status of licenses and their staff. So we had this meeting with them, during which we reached an understanding. What is called the service level agreement was reached, that our requests on behalf of our licensees to these agencies must be attended to within 24 hours. If they are going to accept and treat, they go ahead, but if not, they must get back to us within 24 hours and the reasons why they will not treat these requests. Further to that, we also agreed that all these services must be rendered within 48 hours of receipt of the application from the authority. So the normal delays we used to experience are not there anymore, since we had this service level agreement with the customs, and it's been working well for all. Our clients are happy. I think I even have a commendation from FMC Technologies that within 48 hours we were able to transfer the consignment from the airport to the zone on record time. OGSA was also uploaded a website, and on that website we complied with the directive that you upload a list of services you render and the prices they attract, so that whoever is going to deal with us already knows what's the cost of the service he or she is requesting for. Then for registration, we are using CX software, still from Oracle Cloud Services. there will be a portal. A licensee will log in and then fill in the forms, and then we can interact online.
The enabling environment was key, and that's, as I have explained, had to do with infrastructure, security, our legal framework. And then our next goal was how to grow investors and investments in the zone. We set a target of 50% of over the 3-year periods, 2016 to 2019. And then outside growing investments, which is our primary goal, we looked at the other goals like financial independence, looking at how we could bring in more revenues, which is key, so that we could partner with the private investors who come to provide the world-class infrastructure. And then, of course, values. We looked at values, issues of working conditions, tools, training, and so on for our staff. So, and then, very importantly, we looked at the issue of efficiency, operational efficiency, because the clients expect that they should get service that is different from what they can get outside the free zones. So we set new timelines, reviewed targets, came up with a service charter which we published on our website. For example, in the past, it would take 28 days to obtain a license when you apply and meet all of the conditions. We brought that down to 14 days. It would take 14 days to renew a license. We reduce that to just 3 days once you comply with all of the requirements. And it would take maybe weeks to clear cargoes. We reduce that to a maximum of 48 hours. And we have kept all of these commitments because you know that in the industry, time is of the essence.